So it is clear that the participants who have opted to join this program, they are from language, literature, and from social science stream. But even if these streams are always the vast area of investigation in our academic world, and my focus will be on the topic only. And the topic I have divided in three sections: the teaching of language and literature. And of course, in the Indian situation, I don't want to refer to any such activity that is going on outside India. Then the question of significance of teaching. When it comes to language, we have two types of language programs. One is the language that is the mother tongue or first language. Another is the language we learn that is as the second language, and there is no limit to that languages. There are many languages that can come under the second language learning. So what is the significance of teaching that? Of course, we have not, and we did not think that we should also focus on the learners, but it comes automatically, where otherwise the teachers have no role without the learners. So teaching is not possible without learning. Teaching and learning go simultaneously. The third section, of course, the re-evaluation of the teaching program, keeping in mind the Pattanaik.
I got the problem in the line. So I talked about the three sections of the topic, but I thought briefly I should go and discuss something on the linguistic situation of India. You know, these informations are not new to anybody, and we know that there are a number of languages and more than 700 some languages, and we divide these languages into two. That is, some languages are available in spoken form, and some are in written form. They all put under four major different families. We have Indo-Aryan, Dravidian, Austic, Mundari, and of course Tibeto-Burman. Then some languages in India have been given the status of classical status. It's not classical language, classical status to Indian languages. There are 6 under that. Some languages are borrowed and again part of our Indian linguistic situation. And we also have English and foreign languages and other foreign languages. You know, the reason of selecting these languages and talking about the linguistic situations, that we have many teaching programs going on in different languages of India. Though we all know there are 22 languages we found mentioned in the 8th schedule of the Indian Constitution, but more than 22 languages are taught right from the school level to the research programs, continued undergraduation, post-graduation, and different research programs all over India. So these language programs are going on, and simultaneously the literature, the programs on literature. Also we have both oral part. We find oral literature in our literature programs. We have also discussions on classics. We have English literature programs, foreign languages programs, and some programs are going on in the form of translation. So right from the beginning, what is the attitude towards the teaching of language and teaching of literature? We start at the primary level, secondary level, higher secondary level, undergraduate level, postgraduate, research, and we have other courses. For example, as regards to the Indian languages, we have Central Hindi Institute, we have Central Institute of Indian Languages. They offer certificate, they offer intensive courses, 10 months program. Of course, their idea is to maintain the national integration. When it was initiated in 70s, That was the idea. So 10 months program normally used to given to the school teachers with the intentions that they go back to their schools and start teaching in different programs to their students. And in certain universities, we have certificate, diploma, advanced diploma, other courses. And similarly, literature is taught from the secondary level to the research program. And we have also introduced some certificate and diploma courses in some universities. So what has happened? What do we do actually in language teaching? That is very much needed to discuss. That is history of language teaching, language and literature teaching in India. First, we start teaching the script because of the multilingual situations, we use varieties of scripts. So we start from the scripts. Sometimes that becomes boring. New tools, new methodologies are coming. And when we apply these new methodologies, that becomes automatically interesting. Then we expose the learners to simple words. We start teaching the grammars. Even if we know that child, when comes or acquires the first language, uses some kind of grammar, but we start teaching grammar, that functional grammar. We also start giving some cultural notes because we know the behavior is important in the socio-cultural situation. We have to teach them the behavior. Therefore, we are in need of cultural notes. We also teach at the primary level riddles and rhymes, poetic lines, storytelling, whether we call them literature or not. And our idea is to teach the conversational language. Then when we come from primary to secondary, again, we continue with the functional grammar and some kind of advanced grammar. We introduce translation, we introduce composition. We also use some pieces of literary text such as poems, stories, autobiography, biography, and texts providing historical information. The idea is again to acquaint the learners with the culture and the history of the region, of the state, of the country. And as second language, Sanskrit is taught. In some areas of the country, Hindi is taught and English is taught. And in some states, it doesn't start from the primary level. I think in some states, they start from class 4 or class 6, depending upon the medium of instruction they adopt in the schools. But now coming to undergraduate and honors, the real language literature teaching begins from undergraduate level. And we all know, because I know the list of participants, either they are teachers in different institutions or researchers, but all of us have gone through this arrangement that whether we are in science, arts, or common stream, up to certain level, the language and literature is taught. And later, when it comes to undergraduate, either honors or pass course, that becomes optional. We give a choice whether to take the language or literature. Whereas English English remains as a compulsory subject for all streams. And slowly, what we do in our program, we do not keep language. We say goodbye to language. And we think this much of language till higher secondary level, whatever we are teaching, is enough to pull the rest of the life. So we immediately jump to literature. And there are other optional subjects at undergraduate level. And now, of course, there is emphasis on interdisciplinary courses. And the fact is Now we have two sets of language or two types of language teaching. One as a foreign language, there are takers. The reason is this foreign language or languages, including the English, though English not a foreign language in India, are considered as prestigious or superior. And regional languages, of course, gets a lower status in the society. That whether that is fact or not, that is a different thing. And as a result, there are less takers for regional language. We come to post-graduation level. What we teach, we simply, in some languages, because I had the scope to go through different syllabus in different languages in the country. History of language is one section. We have history of literature. We talk about different genres, the authors, texts, and a vast body of literature we put in the curriculum. It looks very attractive outwardly, but we don't have the proper teaching plan to cover how to cover that. In some languages, I find in one semester, there will be at least 3-4 novels, and that run nearly 1,500 pages. Even a casual reading to the text is not possible within that 3 months' time, but still we are retaining that. And why it is happening? Because there is no evaluation. The question of re-evaluation comes when we actually think about the evaluation. And the question comes automatically. Are we evaluating regularly? If we are not evaluating, that the question of re-evaluation doesn't come. But the situation has changed. The significance of language part, I'll come. We all know what we need in our day-to-day life is language first. What we need in teaching is language. The way we are interacting, we need language. In order to teach physics, I need a language. To political science, to any subject, I need a language. But unfortunately, we give less priority to language. And because we don't realize the importance of language. And we introduce something as communication skills. And that communication is different. That communication may be in different fields, in day-to-day communication, what we need. But the importance of language teaching has never been felt in India. And I'm sorry to say, even in English. Because when it comes to graduation, honors level, and post-graduation level, the language part is automatically deleted. They only concentrate on the literature and the syllabus. The purpose of, again, introducing literature is not to teach the language, because we already have the idea that we know the language. The purpose of the literature is to teach the cultural and historical components of a community, of the state, of the region, of the geographic situation in that region and the surroundings. We don't teach literature for any other purpose. But when it comes to English, we lack that, because we cannot take the culture of English, we cannot teach. We know that. We cannot teach what is English culture. It's very difficult to know. And so as a result, what has happened now in the English syllabi or English syllabus, English as a paper, as a subject, all over India in different universities, we find lots of literatures from, found either in translation or in the regional language available in translations, in either in Hindi or in English. So that has become a part of our teaching program now. Then we keep the idea that a person who is competent in language, literature, this was the old thinking. It's the knowledge of classics. Because our target was not to get anything else in the past. If I go to my grandfather and remember some stories from Mahabharata and tells my grandfather becomes happy and thinks that knowledgeable. But in the present day, the situation has totally changed, and that is not the requirement now. Therefore, we are moving towards interdisciplinary. We want to learn many things through literature. We are trying, but trying at a later level. And we have been trying this for last couple of years, not before that. As a result, the actual situation is different. There is a hierarchy that has been created. In India, English and the other regional languages in India. Actual situation may be different. Even I find the students of English literature have opted Hindi as a subject in Union Public Service Commission exam, not English as a subject, because they think this is the area where we can score more. Then in the similar pattern, we have the teaching program in different foreign languages. Foreign languages are taught because people think, and there are takers for foreign languages, if it is from good university, good institutions, even not also, they think there is some kind of job opportunities. So our aim of language and literature teaching, learning now, the learning, that's why important. Our aim of learning now is not to have some knowledge about culture and the history of the community, of the language speakers of the area. Our idea is to get employments somewhere. Coming to the pedagogical concern, the teaching situation, again, I want to begin from the primary level. You know, one teacher teaches all subjects. We don't know whether he may be a speaker of that language, but he cannot be the teacher in that language. A language speaker cannot be always a teacher in that language. But the situation is such in most of the schools, one teacher teaches all subjects at the primary level, even up to secondary level. No specific language teacher we find in most of the schools in India. The history teacher or teacher who teaches English also teaches that regional language which is there in that region. Then we have a kind of developed a kind of stereotype that the student of regional language are those who are opting for regional language at undergraduation level or post-graduation level. They are inferior, you know, in comparison to the students who take other subjects. In reality, the situation may be different. You know, no one thinks that one takes it by choice, but there was a time that people were taking it as a choice. Best example, the college that is hosting this program, Shama Prasad Mukherjee, and his father, both of them were students of literature, and their priority was regional literature, not English literature. So they are very competent in both the literatures. Because we think that there is less scope for its application. What am I going to do after studying literature? As a student, this question comes. As a teacher, I do not have proper examples to set before them that, yes, look, someone who is good in the subject has done something great. And the time has come when the students think the skill is not sufficient. Skill is not sufficient because we want to apply it. And when I apply, our target is to get something in return. If we don't get something in return, this application has no value. Therefore, we are proposed syllabary revision. And for long, we tried to ignore the revision in the syllabus. In school curriculum, yes, there is a regular evaluation and the revision going on. But it was going on for, many years, the same program was going on with the same teaching learning material. In one of my papers, I have mentioned it, that what we find in primary textbook, the students, in order to introduce English language, the students are taught in the class to say good morning, sir, not good morning, madam. The present scenario is, of course, different. The examples when the teacher wants to teach the present continuous form, the examples we get is Rohan is playing with a football and Mira is playing with a doll. So that type of stereotypes are there, and those syllabus have been properly evaluated, and the evaluation, after the evaluations, the NCERT has changed a lot, and syllabus revision is in process, in regular interval. But when it comes to the undergraduation and post-graduation level, only just before last few years, we have started doing that regularly. So in our recent revision under the CBCS, choice-based credit system, we understood that this is the time we should go for massive revision and add many things. And target was to make it job-oriented. I have some experience because I was actually given the responsibility to prepare the structure for Indian languages, excluding Hindi, Punjabi, and Urdu. I think there were different people employed on that. But that other structure or the model was prepared by me, and it was kept in the website. Before that, I took the feedback, and that is how I got a chance to go through the syllabus of different universities at different levels. And we proposed the varieties of things in our language and literature teaching program. Literature, again, the literature components reduced because we have to make it application oriented, student centric, possible to get job after getting the degree. We introduced journalistic writing. When we see, when we watch the regional languages channels, we find that the anchors and those who are reporting news, they are not from language and literature background. As a result, the language of television has been changed. Sometimes we doubt whether they are speaking the regional language, and that is true to all languages in the country. And they sometimes put the English language structures in Indian language and sounds good to the audience. And the future of language is in danger. So our idea of introducing this in the syllabus of language students is that they get a chance to work there. They get a chance to work in editing, proofreading in publications house. They get a chance to design and use computer designing, computer typing. We have also included script writing, maybe the film script or TV serial script, theater script. Creative writing is a part of the new syllabus now. Then letter writing and drafting is regional language. Most of the states are forcing now. They have made it compulsory for all the members, all the people who are working in that state under the state government to use the regional language in the state in the drafting. And creative writing is taught. So the idea is, again, to give practical training on certain things so that even after graduation, a past student can find a job somewhere and using the knowledge or the skill that the person has acquired during his graduation and post-graduation. So there are ample scope for applications now. This is the outcome of CBCS. We have also thought of, no, that is not enough. We have developed the communication skills. So that is another paper on communication skill. And that is also in regional language, in Hindi. and English. So I don't know whether I should tell it or not. That communication skill paper that has been used in Delhi University, even in the Department of English, the communication skill that has offered, you see the course contents and match it with our course content that has we have submitted from the Department of Modern Indian Languages and Literary Studies. It is almost the same, little change somewhere here and there. Of course, there is no recognition anywhere or no mention anywhere that this was the model proposed by Department of Modern Indian Languages and Literary Studies. In the new syllabus, we have focus on creativity. We should allow the student to think and create something new. So the creativity, teaching and learning. Till now we don't talk about learning material. So we are now through different MOOCs. The previous speaker was talking about e-contents and the MOOCs, different courses, online courses. There we are preparing material in such a way that teaching and learning, both the things can be attended simultaneously. It should not be useful to teachers alone. It should be useful to the learners. And target is, it should be fun, not a burden. We have also included the project work, and that starts from the undergraduate level, project work. And project work project work is based on the creativity. It develops the students' creativity. The students start thinking, start collecting information, start analyzing that from the undergraduate level. We have also introduced research methodology and the art of dissertation writing. Some training, of course, that is not compulsory. Those who opt that paper, they can be taught the methods of research, and of course, not the way we do at the MPhil or PhD level, but how to find, how to search things. And that includes, again, the research methodology format starting from visiting library, collecting information from the field, to analyze each and every collected material, primary, secondary sources, and finally to submit a report, to bring it in the report form. And there where we need the writing. And when we put emphasis on the art of dissertation writing, what we need is the language. We are not writing literature there. We are presenting our outcome of investigation, the survey or research in a language that will be acceptable to me and that will also acceptable to others. There is sufficient interdisciplinary component now, because we understand that the knowledges can come from different disciplines. And it's a very good thing that people from other disciplines now, they have realized that knowledge comes from literature as well. We get history, we get information about culture, we get information about philosophy, science, and various other things from literature. Literature is prompt to respond to the situation. If there is any sociological, socio-political development in the country, if any historical event that happens and finds place in history, it is literature that has responded it to past. So literature right from the beginning was interdisciplinary in approach. Only thing is we are I think some disturbance going on. Should I continue?
Yes, sir, please continue.
So some disturbance going on.
Yes, sir. साधना मैम आपका ऑडियो ऑफ कर दीजिए.
So now in the name of interdisciplinary, we try to link literature with other areas of investigation. Literature science, literature geography, literature history, literature philosophy, and that we were also doing. But we are putting it under interdisciplinarity, we get more scope to use that. But for all those things, we need the learning material and regular evaluation. Therefore, we talk about the re-evaluation. And it is not the one-time things. Once we start doing evaluation, we also start thinking, evaluating our effort after a few years. And that has been going on, and which is a very good thing. Then most of the students who join a post-graduation program in language and literature join in research programs. Join in research programs. We have changed our syllabi. We have changed our curriculum till post-graduation level in order to fit it with the semester system, in order to fit with the requirement of CBCS. But what we have not yet done in all over India is research designing. We are yet to establish, or we yet to throw a kind of research methodology, the common methodology, research methodology for the student. Research methodology is taught in all the universities, and they are taught in their own way. I don't think after completing research methodology in most of the universities, the students, they are in a position to use that in their research thesis, And how I very comfortably say or give this type of observation is when I look at the topics. Look at the topics, how many topics are repeated? And this is the situation in almost all university, because we don't have a manual or we don't have a list where we find the names of the topics. And when you go to the teachers and ask for the topics, teachers think this is the right time the students should be asked to do something which I am interested, not the student, whether the student is interested to do that or not. I put a topic that, yes, you work on this topic and then you will get these facilities, this help from me, and your work will be over in 2-3 years. So the selection of topic, we do not propose new topics. In literature, I think we have adjusted with the things, and now we are trying to find out that how the one author works of one author will be analyzed under different headings by different research students, whether the author actually deserves that or not, whether the creative talent of the author deserves that or not. We are doing that. So here we have to redesign the things. We have to restrict somewhere on the selection of topics. We have to encourage crossing the disciplinary boundary and link it with other things. And new research works will come up very nicely. There is also a tendency to, enhance the MPhil work to PhD. Of course, I'm not saying that MPhil work cannot be enhanced to PhD format, but if in the MPhil program someone has attended on a specific topic, someone has discussed a specific topic, there are other topics which are untouched, can be covered in the PhD, but it cannot be simply an extension of the MPhil dissertation. Even in fiction writing, our novels are not the extension of the short stories. They're two different things. So why should our two researches under MPhil and PhD will not be different from each other, even if we are dealing on a particular topic? We have to more focus, and to allow students to become interdisciplinary. Then only the value of research will increase. And that is true. That is true to all the languages in India. and I'm not referring to regional languages alone. In English literature, the same thing happened. In English literature, another trend has come now, that in order to cross the disciplinary boundary, the folk elements have become very attractive package for them. They want to work on culture, the oral traditions of different communities of India, text written either oral or written in different Indian languages. But when it comes to the degree, they say it is a PhD in English, because the research work has gone through the Department of English, even if they have used the materials which are not the part of English literature. And the same work, if it has gone from the Department of Modern Indian Languages, my department, then the Department of English is first to oppose that this is not a thesis in English. The topic is the same, not exactly the same, definitely. The material is the same. The theory they apply, we also apply the same kind of theory. And we don't create theories. So only thing is, if it gets a tag of Department of English, then the interview time, the candidates will say, I have a PhD in English. Though nowhere in Delhi University, this is written anywhere that is a PhD in English. But we say it is a PhD in English. It is a PhD in humanities from the University of Delhi. So it's not that my claim is not that only the researchers, the students, and the teachers of Indian languages can work on the texts written in Indian languages, can talk about the society in India, can talk about the culture of India. It is open to all. All the people can work on this. Only thing is the recognition. And my focus is on the recognition. And why it is happening? Because initially I told that the attitude towards the regional language, attitude, I am repeatedly telling that attitude towards regional language is such. We have a stereotype going on that regional language means it is just for study, we don't get job, and which may not be correct. Rather, what we promote, we try to think that create your own theories. Materials are available. We are free to collect information from the field. We are free to collect materials, and we can create new theories instead of blindly applying the theories borrowed from the West. We don't question because it sounds very fascinating. Sorry for that. And to make the research application oriented, how to apply it. And while redesigning the whole thing, or reevaluating the language and literature teaching in India, referring to Indian situations and the regional languages and the English and other foreign languages in India, taught in India. I love to quote my favorite line, which I have composed myself, keeping in mind, or starting from my old saying, read less, think more. And I always encourage my research student by saying, think less, by adding to that, think less, analyze more, analyze less, and apply more. Then only the outcome will come out. So what we need is to make the program student-centric, create avenues through the language and literature training, language and literature teaching. There should be equal distribution of language and literature in the syllabus. because application means actually more application is possible if the students are taught in the language. The research program should be redesigned, and therefore we need evaluation. Evaluation, frequent evaluation, if we go on evaluating one thing again and again, we get new ideas. We try to incorporate. We should not end our investigation by saying this has been revised 10 times. There is no need to revise further. We need to revise the things in regular interval. And before that, there should be evaluation and proper evaluation. Before closing it, I'm extremely sorry for the disturbance that has happened. Initially, of course, I joined in the right way. I do not know what happened to my computer. My laptop stopped. Then I had to jump to the mode. I could not show you the PPTs, and the PPTs are nothing, all these points only. There is nothing special in that, but I would love to share that among the participants so that they can focus on each and every point that has been points and subpoints, if they are in the PPT, and they can always contact me. They can always contact me, have some discussions, and also forgive me if I have made some comments. My intention was to present the actual situation, keeping in mind that we need evaluation, we need re-evaluation. Because we are re-evaluating, we should also know the present situation and the past, the history and the history of it, history of language and literature teaching. There was a time even some people were arguing that regional language teacher, language will not be taught in school and college level, or up to school and college level it will be taught. After that it will not be taught. But I got to know that these are going to be there in the new education policy, and new education policy is very favorable towards the language and literature subject. They have really realized whatever you do, whatever we study, and for day-to-day, starting from day-to-day conversation to political discourse, academic discourse, scientific inventions, and to present it, what we need is language. Of course, the language sometimes gets polished through literature, that I am keeping it for the next session. Next session, there will be a paper on that, that I saw in the schedule. So thank you very much. Once again, I apologize for that, but which was out of my control. I had nothing to control there. That happened. And sometimes technology helps, sometimes technology also disappoints. But finally, it has come to this stage. Even I become so nervous, how to cope with the things. I don't know how much time I have spoken. Also, I don't remember, and I don't see the screen. Thank you very much. Definitely, if I get a couple of questions, I will, elaborate my ideas on this.
Sure. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor Pattanaik. My name is Renu Mehta, and I'm from the Department of English at SPM College.
Okay, thank you.
And it's been a wonderful and insightful presentation. I was, there wasn't a moment where I switched off. So it was completely gripping. And I was very interested to see the trajectory of the presentation, the wide range that you covered, and especially vis-a-vis the CBCS syllabus and the communication syllabus. I was very interested to hear what you said. I will have to take questions from the participants, but if you don't mind, can I just start with one of my own? And
yes, sure.
And my question is, in the course of your presentation, you said, at one point, that the future of language is in danger. And as a fellow, student of literature, this is something that actually is a cause for great concern, and especially regarding the hierarchies of language. I really want your insights on, because you've done so much work, on Indian languages and folklore and so on. So my question is, how do we really decolonize mindsets? Because it begins so early on, and really, I mean, of course, there are these two views. Of, one is people like R.K. Narayan, Raja Rao Achebe, people who say that English is good enough for us. We use it in an Indian or / African way. And on the other hand is somebody like Ngugi wa Thiong'o, who stopped using English because he said, okay, it's not possible to decolonize the mind if till you're using the English language. And I myself, I've seen my own kids, when they were going through school, be traumatized about the fact that they were, when they would speak English, they would be, when they would speak in Hindi, they would be told off by the teacher, you're not supposed to speak. And ironically, in schools, there is English language protection monitor hota hai, who's protecting this endangered language called English. So, I mean, how is there even a possibility? Will we ever move past this? That's my question.
Okay, madam, very interesting observation and question also. But the colonizer, what a damage that has been done. I will give one example from my study in the Northeast. We know there is a practice called bride price. And bride price is not the term given by me, that is given by the colonizer, the anthropologist, European anthropologist. And how this thing happened, there is a local word for that. And what is the logic behind that? Logic behind that is 3 points I will make. There are many other points. One is the girl gets an opportunity to test the caliber of the boy, whether he's capable enough to earn or not. The second one is when the girl child is the economic asset of the family. The feminists should think that the economic asset of the family, if she goes to another house, then the boy should give some compensation. Something should come in the form of compensation. And third point is, if he's not capable, if he is poor enough, let him come and work in my house for 1 year, and so that my parents will get to know the caliber of the person. So the internal logic of bride price was that there are local terms, and in Odia, very interesting term for that, that is called Kanya Suna. But the anthropologist, colonizer, European anthropologist, they did not find any equivalent. They made it bride price. Until today, you check in the anthropologist department, they will talk about bride price. And if you quote me that I was arguing in this, then they will say they are encroaching my area. He's encroaching my area, that is none of his area. This is the problem. So this is the mindset. But are we getting the correct information? If the cultural information are available of any indigenous communities, that is available in English only, not in their language, because that language has not come to the limelight. There is no written script. So everything is available in translation, and translation that suits to the person who has translated it. And of course, we all agree this thing. And when it comes to practice, I also jump to send my son to the English medium school. I'm not against English. We cannot survive without that. But when we say there is no opportunity in, say, learning Odia language, there I have problem, because we are not expanding the area. We had never revised our syllabus. Of course, if I read in my undergraduate honors course, 10 novelists, 5 poets, and their works, definitely no one is going to give me money to listen what I have learned. What I need is application. But if I know writing a speech in 2020 or even before 2024 election, I'll write speech for all the politicians and will get money like anything. And I will provide them. So job opportunity doesn't mean it's the job only, the naukri in the sense. And our Prime Minister is saying, Atmanirbhar Bharat, we have to Atmanirbhar, this Atmanirbharata should start from here. Similarly, why in all regional television channels, people from other, having different kinds of degree will speak Hindi? Why not our Hindi student will go and work as the reporter, work as the editor, sub-editor? What they know is they know the language. This has also happened in translation. There is a national translation mission located in Sial, Mysore. They translate knowledge textbooks. And I was a member of that Apex committee for 5 years. I know the problem faced by them. The teacher of physics doesn't know the language. I was a student of science, and we were told that the student of science doesn't require any grammar. And I got a chance in 2012 to teach to take a class in operational research, one program. 150 students are there, operational research department, Delhi University. They had also the same type of impression, some of them. Then I just gave them one sample. I said, I shown in my computer one sentence, and that sentence I still remember, that the apples in the basket are to be equally distributed among A, B, C, and D. I did not use the punctuation. I said put the punctuation, and this is a simple punctuation. And the interesting enough, what they said, there is a comma after A, there is a comma after B, and it. So I put the second sentence, which one is correct? Then they realized, yes, there should be a comma after C, and then and, because the word equally is controlling the message, the meaning of the sentence. Otherwise, it cannot be equal. When A and B and C and D will one group, there will be divided by 3, not by 4. So only thing is, madam, that's the reason the CBCS is providing lots of opportunity. I'm sure if the students take it seriously, but are we getting sufficient number of students? Shibari, but I'm not talking about Hindi. Hindi, of course, we'll get. And there are a large number of students getting through civil service every year. But forget CV, or Hindi. Other Indian languages are facing this type of problem.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, madam.
सर, एक प्रश्न है जो रेणु जी ने पूछा, लगभग उससे मिलता जुलता है, लेकिन पवित्रा कुमारी पूछ रही हैं, सर, हाउ कैन वी टैकल द marginalization of regional and vernacular languages and literature? Moreover, the elitism associated with languages and literature that have enjoyed historical centrality for years.
Actually, we have to see the reality. What has happened in our syllabus now? In most of the universities, we have many texts we have taken from Indian literature available in English. And then the question comes whether it is a true translation, because sometimes the cultural components are not well attended in translation. I know one text that is about a tribal life, a very popular text called Paraja in Odia, and that has been translated long back. And that I want to tell for the information of everybody, because Sahitya Academy gave the first translation award to a professor of English for translating an Odia book into English. That is Paraja. And the professor, that time he was in Singapore, Professor Vikram Kesaridas. So we had a discussion in IIT Kharagpur about the translation, and there were professors of English who questioned, like anything, that this is not the right translations, because the original book is some 400 some pages. So you have brought it down to 200 some pages, and there is a sizable portion which you have omitted. So his reaction was spontaneous, one-line reaction. He said, it is not for you, because you know the original language, so read the original, not the translation. So this difference will always be there when there are two different language. We are a language of different language family, and English comes from a different language, English or other foreign languages. While translating that, the translator should have competence in both language and culture. The cultural competence is also important, and it's not my idea. Jonathan Fuller has said this. So otherwise, the literary competence will not come, and no one can believe. But distinction will remain the same thing. If you put in a bottle, new bottle, that becomes the product. And this complaint had come recently when we decided out of anger to ban all Chinese products. Then I heard in the TV that some people are telling, what about the products that is made in China and put a sticker of made in Gurgaon? So this is what is happening, and that distinction will remain because we are selling the brand. If it is English, it has a higher status. If it is regional language, lower. But see what the linguists say, that all languages are equal, whether it is spoken by 500 people or 5 crore people. So we have to go with that mindset. And job opportunities, or if we say Rojgar again, it lies in our hand how we are using our knowledge. So Pavitra is my student, of course. If she's the same Pavitra Kumari, Pavitra will have discussion. Let others also ask some questions. Yes, madam, please.
Thank you, sir.
रेणु जी, आप कोई प्रश्न ले रही हैं? मैं भी देख रही हूँ.
हाँ जी.
मुझे लग रहा है कोई सवाल नहीं है रेणु मैम.
एक प्रश्न
मैम, शिवानी मैम.
जी जी.
फिर 3 बजे शुरू करना है, लोग लंच वंच करेंगे ना, तो फिर पहले से 1:35-40 हो चुका है.
So just one question, if you don't mind,
Yes.
Alok.
Yes, madam. I have no problem, madam. Yes.
Yeah. Alok ji, is that okay? Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Okay, ma'am.
ले लीजिए रेणु जी, ले लीजिए.
Just this one question. So there is this participant called Mandvi who's asking this, and she says, you spoke about attitude and emphasized on the need to change it towards regional languages. How can we encourage this attitude in class among students? So just this one.
The thing is, I'm not saying the attitude, we have to change it. And we have to encourage to move towards regional language. At least think equally, that both the languages serve the same purpose. And the language, regional language, is more useful. Try with the people, give a bundle of notes and ask them to count. Definitely they are going to count in Hindi, not in English. The practicality, the utility. And the same person will change his counting pattern the moment he finds some people near him, okay, because English sounds good. But very comfortably, one can go on counting up to 100 without any problem. So say that here is also a subject. This is a subject, that is a subject, and both have equal status. The way the Hindi and English have equal status, no one is superior. And why English? Even Santali, Mundari, Santali, of course, that is the language of a state. Gandhi, any community, you take Garoj. Garoj also taught up to the research level, post-graduation level, starting from the school level. Lepcha in Sikkim and Darjeeling, taught from school level to the post-graduation level. Now Central University Sikkim has a department, that is a Lepcha department, and they don't find people to teach. West Bengal government has advertised for 48 Lepcha teachers, and there were no teachers to teach Lepcha language because they were not encouraged to do so. Now, of course, we are encouraging. Even if I try to avoid Lepcha, it comes automatically to my discussion, observation. But now I am comfortable, madam. Initially, to be very frank, I was very disturbed. I was not expecting this thing to happen. First, I had to wait half an hour. Then second, my system betrayed me.
Thank
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. Renuji, please.
Thank you.
रेनू मैम,
you.
रेनू मैम,
Yes.
एक क्वेश्चन तो कुहाड़ मैम का है, एक बार ले लीजिए उर्वशी कुहाड़ का, क्योंकि वो
आप पूछिए अगर आपको दिख रहा है.
शिवानी मैम ले लीजिए आप.
Just a second.
उसमें क्वेश्चन है उर्वशी कुहाड़ का. पटनायक सर, मैं बीच में इंटरफेयर कर रहा हूँ.
नहीं.
How can we encourage students to be creative and original? Do they not run the risk of not being understood by certain examiners, especially if they write beyond conventional answer? Please address, sir.
Yes, this is also a good question. How to encourage creativity? You see, the practical situation now, the problem is we don't write letters. There was a time we used to write very long letters. And we are very careful about our language. And particularly if the boy writing a letter to a girl or girl writing a letter to a boy, they are more careful. Because they think that language is something that will be useful to impress the other. And the creativity used to come automatically. Otherwise, if they copy the things, automatically they will be caught that this person has copied from that in order to impress me. So now also this type of things can be encouraged. Suppose I show an object and ask the students to write a paragraph on that, and see how difficult it is for them to even compose or write 10 sentences, and each sentence is different from each other. If I show a pen and ask them to write tell me 5 questions, what they will say, what is the cost of your pen, what is the color of your pen, what is this is the way they can make. But new sentences, composing, writing new sentences, this is the way creativity can be enhanced. Take them to the field. Therefore, my emphasis is on the project work. Show some situations and they will come out. And this experiment was successful. If you remember, 1,000 students had gone to Northeast. Delhi University undergraduate students along with the teacher had gone to Northeast. And when they came back with excellent projects. And they did not know the local language. And fortunately, I was given the responsibility to teach local language in 20 days. It's a crash course type of things. 8 different languages are taught in the Department of Indian Languages with the help of research scholar on one model. And they applied it. They went to the field, applied. And Madam Shukla, who was then director of NGO, was telling me in Meghalaya, the students, they disappeared. They went to a house and started eating there. And because they knew few sentences in that language, the moment they used Khasi language in Meghalaya, the Khasi people were very happy. They invited them to house and offered them. After that, they started asking questions, what is this, what is that, and showing different items. They started a note of that, put their creativity into that, and submitted the report. I think in some colleges, those reports, maybe the copies of those reports should be there because our student visited itself. So every time we have to also creative. The teacher has to be creative also. What should I ask? What should not I ask? I remember the student asked me, what should not we tell? And they're saying, what are you going to tell when you go to the community? What should not we tell? They are asking. I said, that will not be taught to you because the moment I will teach that and you are going to use that fast in the field and then everything will collapse. So every time we have to also, I think the teacher, we have to evaluate ourselves, what is to be asked, what is to be not to be asked. And in order to enhance the creativity, every time we have to change our strategies. There cannot be one format, one methodology, one strategy to get the outcome. But